They're coming at 10, so we can move in preparatory for tomorrow, I believe.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yes. Because the date is already there.
Oh, no problem, sir. Thank you, Your Excellency, the Speaker, my respected colleagues. I remain Honorable Ado Dogwa. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I represent Tudunwada Dogwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, like you rightly said, for us to get ready and perhaps tidy up our records here, I think it is eminent for us to use the opportunity today, like you rightly directed, that this House do move that the House, pursuant to Order 21, Rule 8, 1 and 2 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, do admit the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and his entourage to address a joint sitting of the National Assembly on Friday, the 7th day of October 2022 at 10:00 a.m. for the purpose of presenting the 2023 budget estimates. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so respectfully move. Thank you.
Leader of the Opposition.
I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Delmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shimili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion moved by the House Leader that we do admit Mr. President, on Friday 7 for the purpose of laying the annual estimate for 2023. Mr. Speaker, I so second.
Thank you. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Clerk, please liaise with the leader of the House, the leader and the whip, so that we can configure the chambers for tomorrow. This is a makeshift chambers. The space is small. We're using upstairs and we're using downstairs, but still, it will still be. It's not the same as the main chambers that we're used to. So, the leader and the whip will organize with you. This side, that side, where your sergeant at arms, the cameramen are, I believe, will be cleared. Part of it for the visitors. The gallery will be cleared, I believe, for the cameramen. I don't know, whatever. Just have this space configured for that purpose tomorrow. Thank you. The first order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act Cap C-15, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Nkiruka, Honorable Solomon Bob, Obina Chidoka, and Honorable Osai Osai, Honorable Olatubosu, Ben Ibakwa, and Honorable Raji. Honorable members will recall that the bills were consolidated on Tuesday, 27 September 2022, and now invite Honorable Nkiruka Onyejocha to move that the bill be now read a second time. I don't think Honorable Nkiru is here. Honorable Bob, I saw you earlier. Can you move, please?
My name is Solomon Bob. I represent Abua Odua Nahoda East Federal Constituency of Rivers State. Mr. Speaker and dear colleagues, I rise for a motion on an act to amend the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act to insulate judicial officers from prosecution before being lawfully removed from office.
This is the Code of Conduct, right?
Yes, Code of Conduct.
That's what you're, okay.
Excuse me, Code of Conduct Tribunal.
Yes, okay.
I remain Uzoma Nkimabonta. Except for time, our presenter, would you not understand what the bill is talking about? The presenter, Bob, Honorable Bob, a lawyer, and should be able to tell us a little what it is, because it's an amendment of concerning judicial officers and all whatnot. If we can have an idea what it's all about, I'm not opposing, but one thing key says removal of officers should be made difficult or something, but it should lighten us a little. That's all. I'm not speaking against. I don't understand it yet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill proposes to insulate or protect judicial officers from capricious abuse by the executive, arbitrary removal from office, forcible and extra-constitutional removal from office, like we saw a few years ago in the case of Walter Onnoghen. Now, you know that the Constitution under Section 292 says that no head of court, basically no head of court or judicial officer can remove from office without an address by the relevant legislative assembly, whether it's National Assembly or State Assembly. But what we saw in that case was a different scenario. Now, this bill now is meant to arrest a situation where a governor or president can, through the instrumentality of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, bring a purported judicial process to remove a head of court, or in fact any judicial officer for that matter, from office without having gone through the requirements of Section 292 that mandates only an address from the Legislative Assembly as being the basis upon which a man can remove from office. Now, it's under such a removal that the officer in question can be tried by a court of law. So we want to obviate a situation where what happened can happen again. And now we're also trying to, under Section 20, we're creating a new Section 20 that clothes this tribunal with the status of a superior court of record. You recall that some time ago I brought a bill to amend the Constitution in this regard, to amend Section 6 of the Constitution in this regard. Now, all of these are meant to ensure that the tribunal, apart from protecting judicial officers generally, the tribunal cannot be instrumentalized, okay, as has been the case in recent times, because the chairman of that tribunal and his members, by virtue of the decision in Saraki and FRON, they're not judicial officers. So they are not amenable or subject to discipline and control of NJC. So they are at the whims, they operate at the whims and caprices of the executive. Nigeria is probably the only place in the world where the executive purports to, have under its control a court or quasi-court it can use to weaponize, to witch hunt, to arbitrarily and summarily remove people from office if they don't kowtow to them or do what they want. So this bill, basically, in summary, is about ensuring the insularity of, the installation of judicial officers from capricious removal by the executive. And in addition, ensuring that that same tribunal is protected from control and abuse of the executive. So there are two arms to it. One, close the tribunal with the status of the Superior Court of Record. The second one, like I explained already, ensures that judicial officers cannot be removed from office without complying first with the provision of Section 292 of the Constitution. It's after such a removal, they can be tried if they are found guilty of malfeasance or any kind of anything, unprofessional conduct, whatever. They can be tried subsequently, but not before. That's what it's about. Thank you.
Should have been availed of the amendments prior to now. I don't know if Abenta is correct. Amendment to the Code of Conduct is not something, is something that we should have looked at. Because you've just explained to us now what the bill seeks to do, but not how it seeks to do it. The objective of the bill you've put very well, you've narrated very well, but the how is what I'm not sure. But I think we get the Honorable Abenta.
That act needs proper amendment, not only removal of judges. And I want to opine that the way the removal is being cast is even simple. It should be tied and made as the removal should be subject to NJC, the same manner Superior Court of Justice are being removed should be. In the last few years, we noticed a lot of issues as if Code of Conduct is just a tribunal in the presidency and so on. Therefore, in trying to strengthen it, I'm not using it as we chanting, I support this, but a thorough amendment should come, even in appointment, duties, and removal. The removal should state, among other things, that in the manner you remove a Supreme Court judge should be in that same manner. Such infractions must be, so we can feel safe to work. So any judicial officers should be safe enough. They should not treat judicial officers as those who may be on ballot or who may be on ballot each time. I mean, they're not going to treat them like they don't have a definite term of office. Their term of office should not be controlled by the whims and caprices of any executive. I so support the bill, and that such amendment, in view of the time we're facing now, I don't know, I want to go out of my way, so the relevant committee should, within a specified period, ordinarily, we don't have to begin to do a motion to retrieve it. They should finish all within 30 legislative days. I so support, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's information. Mr. Speaker, I listened carefully to what Honorable Bob said. It's a very good amendment, but my concern is this. If you look at the Code of Conduct which actually precipitates the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act. The Code of Conduct itself is established by the Constitution. And the Code of Conduct, as established by the Constitution, does not only affect judicial officers. It states clearly, explicitly, that even the president, the vice president, it lists all the public officers affected by it. So I'm just thinking aloud that can we effectively, as a House, amend the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act in isolation away from the Constitution, which actually gives it its lifespan? So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know how it's going to be done, because I thought it's still going to be part of the processes of constitutional amendment. So that's what I'm thinking, and I thought I should bring it up.
We're concerned strictly with the amendment of this act. We cannot bring them into, we're concerned strictly with the amendment of this act. But you are saying we should bring it in, bring them in. Is that what you're saying? Thinking out loud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before he rose, he addressed the same concern personally to me. And I assured him that I have sponsored an amendment to Section 6 of the Constitution regarding this same CCB to bring it in conformity with the Superior Court of Record. That amendment was taken here, second reading on the 21st of September last year. So we're not doing anything in isolation. This is a follow-up to the amendment we first sought, respecting the same tribunal and the Constitution. So that is in any case, if you want to amend the Constitution, Section 6, to bring an institution like the Code of Conduct Tribunal under Section 6, after that you have to follow through with another amendment of the Act itself.
It's okay.
Yes. He's a smart boy. Bagos.
Sir Bagos.
Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable colleagues, I'm from the home of peace and tourism, Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to move for the second reading for a bill for an act to establish a National Research Institute for Chemical Technology, Zaria, Kaduna State, to provide globally competitive and environmentally friendly, innovative research and development in the processing and conversion of indigenous raw materials into valuable chemicals and petrochemical products for the development of chemical, biological, and man-made fiber technology for industrial application in Nigeria and for related matters, 2022 HB 2065. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mama, take your seat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right Honorable colleagues, I'm Dachu Musa Bagos, representing the good, great people of Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency from the peaceful state of Plateau. Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable colleagues, I want to seek the leave of the House to suspend our relevant rules to enable us as a House to take a very important issue, knowing the fact that today is World Teachers' Day, for the House to recognize people that have made us who we are and at the same time building the next generation. So I seek the leave of the House that if we can suspend our relevant rules so that I come on personal explanation on this very issue, sir.
So those in any seconder, leader of the opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I represent the good people of Anocho Shimili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. Rising from the fact that whatever we are today was as a result of our tutoring from school, and given that today is Teachers' Day, I hereby profusely second this motion. As moved by my colleague, I so second.
Thank you, Leader. Ayes have it. What's your personal explanation?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, knowing to the fact that most of us became who we are today as a result of sacrifice of teachers that have sacrificed to teach us, our children, and preparing the next generation. Not only that, Mr. Speaker, we cannot count the number of members out of the 360 members we have here that are teachers that came from the classroom to this very important hallowed chamber. Mr. Speaker, right honorable colleagues, we all know that owing to the fact that despite we have the ongoing ASU strike, the House have recognized the importance of teachers and have, in the past few weeks, intervened in the issue of the ASU strike. Mr. Speaker, right honorable colleagues, knowing that this is a very important day for teachers worldwide, it will be a honor for the House to recognize the teachers. It will be a honor for the House to give honor to teachers in Nigeria, and at the same time to give them, if possible, a standing ovation recognizing their sacrifice in building the nation. Mr. Speaker, right honorable colleagues, I believe that contributing to this personal explanation, honorable colleagues will contribute to the fact, knowing the importance of teachers, the sacrifice they have made, and at the same time, for us to give them the necessary support and honor them as great people, because the labor of our heroes past and the labor of the heroes present will not be in vain. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, I want to observe.
I don't know. Oh no, yes, you are a known teacher. Yeah, eh?
Mr. Speaker, please. I would like to guide the House, please.
So who?
Point of guidance, yes, I want to guide the House.
Okay, after you want to guide.
Yes.
Then the DS, eh?
Yes.
Okay. What's the guidance?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My respected colleagues, I remain Honorable Ado Dogwa, Mr. Speaker. I represent Dogwa Tudunwada Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my honorable members, I come from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, my point of guidance, as you may wish to allow, I agree with Honorable Bagos that this is a matter that is so germane and critical because it concerns a sector of Nigerian people that are very, very relevant and important to the nation, the teachers. I want to believe maybe by oversight or by genuine commitment from Honorable Bagos, he wants to make sure that this chamber does not skip this very important observation he's making. But I would like to advise that even if it means suspending our relevant rules, sir, a matter of this importance and magnitude should not just come by way of personal explanation. Should not come by way of personal explanation. Agreed is an important matter. It has to come by way of promotion, of a matter of urgent national importance. Now that we have skipped that stage, I think, Mr. Speaker, I would like to, by the leave of the chair and the honorable members, to let us suspend our rules and take Bagos matter as a matter, substantive matter, by way of a motion, make prayers, and now discuss it exhaustively. Mr. Speaker, that is my take, and I remain guided by the chair. Thank you.
So weighty, it's so important that it should have been a motion. But we've had motions such as this before that we have taken on the. It's not sufficient for you, right? Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's hear from the DS, and then we'll look at the issues together. Thank you for the guidance.
Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, my name is Ahmed Idris. I represent Wasefere Constituency, Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to speak on the issue raised by my brother Ogon Bagos. And I want to believe that this House has done sufficiently well and is doing a lot for teachers. I recall we amended the provisions for retirement age of teachers by upgrading the number of years for them to be in service. The Parliament have done so much. I didn't hear you recognize that one. And I didn't want him to just pick on the House. That's why I was insisting to speak. That the House has done much and is doing a lot. They have intervened in many issues, including now the ASU strike, which is part of the teaching profession. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, you know we're in election year. And many people would like to come back with issues to gain attention, which I believe Bagos is trying to use this platform to get that attention.
Mr. Speaker, let's establish the position.
Let the DS finish it.
Thank you. So, yeah, well, that's DS for you, sir. So I believe he's using that to get that attention. And in using that to get that attention, he's one of those that is very prompt to his attendance in terms of sitting chambers, and I believe he should be learning the rope very well. When you raise a matter under passing explanation, I think the leader is just trying to save him, maybe because of a contribution. My thought would have been, yes, to take note of what he has said, because and we move forward, not even to think about coming up with a motion. But Your Excellency, because I respect so much the leader and the teaching profession, which is very noble and excellent, many people that will wish
There are local issues.
Good reward here, I Lord in heaven. I want to believe that
there may be local issues, sir. There may be local issues.
But I would prefer the motion come for the people who know the value, not those who are trying to use the teachers to gain the control of the electoral processes. Thank you very much, sir.
That every member in this house has the right to be heard. And I also believe that what Bagos tried to bring on board is something that even last year we did it. We gave an honor to some teachers. We gave honor to some teachers who distinguished themselves in their field. And today, Bagos is bringing that. So it has nothing to do with Bagos trying to achieve political relevance in bringing up a motion. And double with the fact that the House leader is from Kano State, where he's being heard. And somebody is saying that the essence of bringing the motion is to achieve political relevance. For me,
It's a local
sitting
motion.
on this floor is the Deputy Speaker
You are
of
interfering.
this Halo chamber.
Not the Deputy Speaker,
Who
Honorable
is-
Wase. Don't
who
talk
is
to the Deputy
our
Speaker.
our
Mr. Speaker, leader, you should know that there is a difference between the Deputy Speaker and Honorable Wase, who just spoke here. It was not the Deputy Speaker that spoke.
So, Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to say, sir, there is nothing mischievous in Bagos bringing up a motion and the House leader, Adodogoa, now supporting that, look, this shouldn't just come by what personal explanation. They should come by substantive motion. There's nothing mischievous. And there is nothing political about it. What we are trying to do is to recognize our teachers. All of us seated here on this floor, one way or the other, through nurturing, went through them. And we owe that to them, to honor them. So nothing is political. Nothing, Bago is not trying. After all, the teachers are not of the whole nation. He's not running for presidential election. He's only from a federal constituency. And I believe he's doing that. He didn't say for his own constituency alone. He's talking about teachers in Nigeria and all over the world, if I heard you right. And that is what we are here for. So if our leader is now insinuating that the essence of this thing is because it's an election year, that the person is trying to now be relevant or to gain popularity, I think, Mr. Speaker, is not parliamentary. And by so, and yes, because my constituents watching this thing, you know, we're on live stream, will now say, okay, this is why they're on the floor, because they want to be voted back into office.
All right.
Mr. Speaker,
First of all, I think...
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Hold on a second. Personal explanation. In the rules on personal explanation requires, there are two conditions. One, that it not be a matter that is controversial. Two, that it cannot be debated. On the first condition in our rules, that it not be a matter of controversial matter, I don't think celebrating Teachers' Day is a controversial matter, or should never be a controversial matter. And that is established. The second condition is that it shall not be a matter under personal cannot be debated. And on that note, the leader of the House was right that it should have come under a substantive motion. But because we have already started debating it, we've had about 4 speakers. That's a debate. Because we have already started debating it, it is automatically, by fiat, automatically it has been moved to a substantive motion. That's my ruling. We cannot now...
I hope this ruling will stand alone. It's a standalone
ruling. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think they lead me not to raise the issues, and I felt it's important to raise the issues.
I was saying that you should be a leader.
Excuse me.
You were not begging him, you were pleading with him.
No, I said you should be a leader.
I'm a leader.
Because it concerns the teachers.
No, I'm not saying. Thank you, sir. I believe those who are watching. Good person on the platform. We saw how Adokoya, our own person, was honored in one of the teachers' events. Insufficient notice for anybody who wants to come with a motion. It's because of the magnitude that we are traversing this much length of period of time on this particular matter. But otherwise, I still remain, it is in our rules. When you bring a matter like this, it is supposed to be for notification. That's what the rule says. And I have every reason as a parliamentarian, of course, to insinuate. It's not out of parliamentary to insinuate what the person is doing. And I believe Bagos knows what I'm saying. Thank you very much, sir.
Let me say this before you speak, Honorable Tibi. Before the Bagos brought this to my attention about 20 minutes ago, that it's Teachers' Day, that we need to recognize the teachers. And I said, of course we need to recognize the teachers. And I asked him, okay, go and bring it under a personal explanation. I actually gave him that. I said, go and bring it under personal explanation. And the reason why I said so was because I know, one, personal explanation, it's not a controversial matter. So I knew we had crossed that hurdle. Two, I didn't expect it to be debated. It was just him that was going to bring it up, and then we recognize them, no debate, nothing, but it has been subjected to debate. That's why I said it's now a more or less has taken his own coloration of a substantive motion just by accident. I don't think as a house we should step this matter down. It will send the wrong message out there since it has already been brought up. Really, it was not meant to be debated. He was just meant to make his personal statement, and then we move on. Honorable Rotimi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Federal Constituency of Lagos. Mr. Speaker, talking about teachers, I think it is important that we talk about them. I think it is important we honor them because of the environment they are working. We all pass through them. We cannot say that teachers' reward is in heaven. They must start enjoying from here, despite the fact that the environment that they are working is not even conducive. How much are they earning? The truth must be told. So, Mr. Speaker, I am supporting that the motion coming under personal explanation must not be debated unless the Deputy Speaker, the Leader of the House, and Bago have something that they had discussed before coming to the floor. I'm sorry, my leaders, I'm sorry. So I am supporting the motion that the teachers should be honored. Thank you very much.
Okay, so
Citizens, I want to bring the attention of my brother. I have always defended the cause of Nigerian workers on this floor. My argument has always been there. If there are votes and proceedings, go through it. On the issue of minimum wage and whatever, the condition of service, I have never for one abdicated. One, maybe you don't know my background as a labor activist. Two, I started from this humble background of teaching profession and learning. Three, I'm a very, very patriotic person. But for whatever reason, if you say the condition is not conducive, it's not about today. It's about what we're supposed to do. Let us not begin to impute into what is not the motive. The motive is to honor teachers, but not by those kind of words. That's capable of bringing other issues. Thank you, sir.
thank you. We'll debate it thoroughly.
Okay.
No, we will discuss it because we are trying to honor the teachers. There's no debate there, so we will discuss it thoroughly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, ab initio, Honorable Bagos should have been vigilant. Should have been vigilant in the sense that equity is the vigilant but not the indolent. If Mr. Honorable Bagos is so passionate about this motion, he should have come early to the chamber so that it will be captured early at the stage of motion of urgent public importance. Now that, Mr. Speaker, you have ruled graciously, in future, any member that is so passionate about a motion or any matter should come early and raise it as matter of urgent public importance, or should come by way of motion or notice, not to come and smuggle such an important matter as a matter of as personal explanation. Be that as it may, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I think now that we are going to discuss it as a substantive motion, I fully associate myself with all the submissions made by previous speakers with regard to this motion, adopt same as mine, and wish to add that teachers in this country have contributed immensely towards...
What's your point of order? That's the whip. What's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Uzoma Nkemabonta. Mr. Speaker, permit me to come under our rules, motions and amendments, particularly 8.6. Mr. Speaker, we draw so much about this motion and whatever, but if I may read 6. A motion arising out of business of the day made immediately after that business is disposed of and before any fresh matter is entered into. He came by explanation. We disposed of it. And a motion arose out of that before going to another thing. Your ruling was proper. So let us go and discuss the matter as you directed by this order.
That is what we are doing.
Thank you.
Obonta, that is what we are doing. Are you sure of the...
Was in deep slumber when I was contributing. Mr. Speaker, I am already contributing on the motion. I'm trying to build up my argument for a subsequent prayer that I'm going to propose. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, teachers have contributed immensely towards the growth of this nation. All of us here were brought up by teachers, were mentored by teachers. They have done enormous sacrifice for our upbringing. As such, it behoves on us to honor them and then propose relevant prayers to uplift their standard of living. Standard of living in the sense that their remuneration. We should try as much as possible to encourage the increase in their remuneration, especially against this ugly scenario of us going on strike for over 8 months and our children are at home. So this motion is the celebration of Teachers' Day. This year is relevant and germane, having regard to what is happening in the educational sector in this country, especially against the backdrop of the ASU strike. We should devise ways and means of making sure that problems associated with teaching in this country, whether at the tertiary level or at the non-tertiary level, is adequately resolved so that this ugly scenario of teachers going on strike should be a thing of the past. So my prayer is, one, the executive and the legislature should put heads together, as already initiated by Mr. Speaker, to resolve this ASU problem, to honor the Teachers' Day this year, and also devise ways and means of giving robust remuneration to teachers so that their reward is in here on earth and then subsequently in heaven. So they should enjoy both on earth and in heaven. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Let's try and do this differently this year for about 10-15 minutes and then we move on. Honorable Ben, who was your favorite teacher in school, and tell us about him or her? She or he probably wants to forget about Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Benjamin Okezie Carlo. I represent the good people of Nigeria, starting from Ben, the federal constituency. I'm from Abia State. Good question that you asked, Mr. Speaker. After the war, I started learning under a fruit tree in a place called Bende Central School, Bende, in 1976. Mr. Speaker, one of my best teachers at that time was a man called Sir OGB. He's watching the television as I speak. Yes. And another one was Sir Akalele, who taught me fine arts. And Miss Benedict Nwankwo, who taught me English. Mr. Utomi, who taught me French, and then Sir Wood, Dave Wood, who taught me woodwork in Wilcox Memorial Comprehensive Secondary School. And if you come to the university, Mr. Speaker, I was in the University of Calabar, and I had great minds there, like Professor Dada, who taught me law, and you have a whole lot of them who were there, who gave us the best. The most important thing is that, though we acquired foreign education at a point, Mr. Speaker, I must say, under harsh weather, under harsh conditions, these ones dedicated their life, their time, not considering themselves, but selflessly impacted in us that which has built us to become great minds, that today some of them are working with us in rebuilding the schools that we attended, from primary school to secondary school, and we are currently giving back even to our university. And some of them are still there, and they are proud of our programs, they are associating with our programs while we are here serving the entire nation. They ought to be celebrated, and it is our duty as members of the parliament to, as we review other benefits for the security agencies of this country and the health sector of this country, to look at the teachers. Some of them are teaching students who are sitting on the floor, and sometimes they don't have desks and chairs. I've visited them. In my course of needs analysis, Mr. Speaker, what I saw amazed me. And they have refused to leave the classroom blocks, despite all odds. Some of them are old salaries, Mr. Speaker, but they refused to give up because they believe in staying in those classrooms, Mr. Speaker, they are raising a generation that will develop this nation for their children unborn. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to stand up to mention the names of great minds who raised Benjamin Okezie Kalu. I couldn't mention all of them, and I'm sure the same thing goes for all the members sitting down here. They deserve our celebration. And so, today being this Teachers' Day, I rise to celebrate all the great minds from primary school to secondary school to university who paid one dues, one sacrifice to raise Benjamin Kalu, the spokesperson of the House of Representatives.
Honorable Aisha Duku, somebody said Professor Jega.
Yes, Professor Jega was my lecturer at Bayero University. Actually, yes, he was.
Oh, you're chairman in electoral matters?
As a graduate assistant.
Amazing.
Before he went for his PhD. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been itching to stand up to speak because I am a teacher, and a proud teacher for that matter, and the daughter of a teacher. Mr. Speaker, I want to start the celebration of the day by celebrating you, Mr. Speaker, because you are so caring to teachers. That's why you have stood your ground. You know, yesterday I saw you even at the villa with the Deputy Speaker and the leader to go and see Mr. President on the ASU issue. I want to celebrate you for your concerns, Mr. Speaker, and Allah will reward you. Mr. Speaker, my favorite teacher was Malam Alabura Eskudi of blessed memory.
Your favorite teacher was who?
Malam Alabura Eskudi.
Why was he your favorite teacher?
He was my primary school teacher and headmaster at the same time. He never sat in his office for a minute. Yes. He was always going from one classroom to the other.
Always running after you. Aisha, go back into class. Go back into class.
Going around the entire school to make sure.
Always whipping you to go back into class.
No, sir. I was always seated in my classroom, sir. And another favorite teacher was Mr. Marcus M. Michelia. He's alive. And the theme for today is the transformation of education begins with teachers. And I believe we all understand the theme because, yes, there can never be any development in the education sector without looking at the teacher. He is, or she, the primary, target. Without teachers, we couldn't have been here. Without teachers, we couldn't have had, the nation coming to this level. Mr. Speaker, on a personal, note, how do we celebrate them? Let us appreciate them, whether they are alive or not. Please, all of us should appreciate our teachers, should say thank you to them if they are alive, should, appreciate their families if they are alive, On our own note, let us not leave everything to government. it is not all about, everything, pushing everything to the government. We all can do something. And as Mr. Kalu has said, going back to our alma mater to contribute as a way of payback is also, saying thank you to those that have shaped our lives. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Honorable Isiaka.
Thank you very much, the Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, that's my colleagues. Ibrahim Ayokunle Isiaka. I represent the very good people of Ifo-Iweko Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ogun State. And for whatever it was, I want to appreciate our honorable colleague who brought this self-provoking remembrance, nostalgia, a kind of reminiscence onto the floor of the House today. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind us that the first word in the Quran at 696, it says Ikra. And Ikra is teach, learn, read. Oh, who reads for you, sir?
Same family, same family.
Yes. Yeah.
Go ahead, Honorable Isiaka. Honorable Isiaka, face the chair.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for that protection. I'm right.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next person.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, sorry, sir. Now, sir, and if...
Honorable Isiaka, go ahead.
Flowing from this, Mr. Speaker...
Leader, please now.
Whether it's teach, whether it's learn, whether it's direct, somebody will have to tell us what to do. And in the Bible, Mr. Speaker, if you check Titus, chapter 2, verse 7 to 6 and 8, then Proverbs in the Bible, chapter 22, verse 6, which means biblically, from the two holy books, Mr. Speaker, both Bible and Quran have seriously enunciated what we are discussing on the floor of the House today. Mr. Speaker, the importance of teaching, reading, studying, reflecting, and investigating are the first words revealed in this world. And who have been doing this to us? They are the people, irrespective of whether in the classroom, whether in our homes, whether in the market. Once anybody directs you, is teaching you the right way to live. And that is what we call teaching, and those are the teachers. And just as Honorable Dachong Bagos explained, Mr. Speaker, the only thing I want to buttress, I want to support him by saying that standing ovation for the living teachers and those that are dead. Mr. Speaker, we give them 1 minute.
Who was your own teacher?
I have many of them, Mr. Speaker, both in the industry.
Just one.
Just one.
Your favorite?
He died just last month. He's called Mr. Shoge.
May his soul rest in peace.
Amen, sir.
Have you taken the leader's correction about your quote in the Quran that is read, not teach?
If I want to read, somebody must teach me, Mr. Speaker, sir.
No.
Okay, it's read.
I
was trying to let him know that read. Somebody will teach me.
Okay. Read. And the people that teach you to read are teachers.
Yes, sir.
But the correct whatever is read. That is it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Honorable Engineer Sani.
There is no amount of commendation that we can give to teacher and teaching profession that can be overemphasized. I want to first recognize my teacher who is currently behind me in this chamber, who taught me agriculture when I was in senior secondary school.
Is in this chamber?
In this chamber. He
Who?
taught me agricultural science.
Who?
In my SS1.
Who?
Please raise up. Mala Adu Sanikiri.
He taught you?
Yes, he taught me in secondary school. So I just have to stand to recognize him.
So you are celebrating him?
Yes, sir. I want to celebrate him, and I can still I memorized most of the things he taught me, and I can still recall some of the quotations that he gave us when he was a teacher. So I'm very proud of him, and he was a teacher that I always, regard as somebody who has helped me in my life, and I celebrate him today. I want to also recognize Mr. Obina. He's now a lecturer in Nsukka University, who taught me chemistry, mathematics in secondary school. I also recognize him, Mr. Obina. I hope he can hear this message. Mr. Obiara also taught me biology, and he's currently in France Road in Kano selling spare parts. I cherish him as a teacher because he was so wonderful and germane. Late Malan Ahmed Gilso, who is the father to current Commissioner of Environment in Kano State, I cannot finish my speech without recognizing him because I wanted to do arts in the secondary school, but he urged me to go for sciences because he felt I can do mathematics very well and physics, and therefore he, as a counselor, he just counseled me to study sciences instead of arts. And this is just what had happened in my life. So I recognize Malan Ahmed Gilso too. I also want to finish up by recognizing the federal government for its policies, especially on teaching. Just recently, some universities, some federal colleges and polytechnic were converted to federal universities just to encourage teachers to be part of, to produce more teachers. And recently, other policies that I think the federal government need commendation are the issues that all students studying in federal colleges of education and those currently in university studying education are encouraged to have automatic scholarship to encourage them to be teachers. This policy will aim at producing more teachers in the federation because we are having brain drain when it comes to the teaching profession because most people feel it is the least out of working class. So I want to commend the federal government by recognizing teachers and also provide such policies that will enhance teaching profession in the country. I so submit Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Yeah, no amount of speech is too much for teachers, but we'll take one more on this side and two, and then we'll wrap it up. Honorable Mana.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Aniekan Umana, member representing the unique people of Abak, Itimekwika Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, we are from the vibrant state of Akwa Ibom. Mr. Speaker, I want to join my voice today in celebrating all the teachers in this country, all of those who have labored in ensuring that we come up to be those we are today in our various positions. Mr. Speaker, in aligning myself with the thoughts of Sister Honorable Aisha Duku, and in espousing the theme of today's celebration of teachers, which is the transformation of education begins with teachers. It went further to say that this day is to celebrate the transformation and the critical role that teachers play in growing learners' potentials. And I think that's the whole essence of today. That we should celebrate the transformation and critical role that they play in growing learners' potentials. And that situates well with what everyone has said here today. Mr. Speaker, I think, for me personally, I would like to celebrate, let me say, E.S. Udo, who was my mathematics teacher in Bishop Clark's Primary School back in Akwa Ibom State. I had a very good friend and a French teacher, Miss Itwen. Our friend, we used to call her Madame Isese. And she was an excellent French teacher. We were always battling in the French classes and staying between 80, 90-something%, and so on, very interesting. And then at the university, late Professor Essien, Dr. Ina, and so on. But in concluding, Mr. Speaker, I want to suggest that as we celebrate teachers, we should begin to look at how we better the welfare of teachers in our country. Mr. Speaker, I do not think it is proper for a graduate assistant to earn 95,000 in today's Nigeria. I do not think it is proper for professors to earn 332,000 as salaries in Nigeria today. Mr. Speaker, I do not think it is proper for primary school teachers to earn below 50,000 in today's Nigeria. I think as a country and as a people, we should begin to look at how we improve the welfare of teachers and improve our educational standard across board to return our educational system to the firm that it used to have. I remember in those days when people used to come from different parts of West Africa, the University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, University of Calabar, different universities, Ahmadu Bello in Nigeria. We had teachers from Ghana, from East Africa, and so on, working and other children schooling in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, we need to push back and return our educational system to those glorious days and raise the standard of teaching and continue to celebrate our teachers. Mr. Speaker, this is my contribution, and I stand here today to join in the celebration of teachers. Thank you so much for granting me this time. God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Mana.
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, my name is Taiwo Oluga. I speak on behalf of all the people of Irewole Federal Constituency. I'm from Osun State. I rise this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, to speak as the daughter of a teacher. My mom was a teacher even till her demise. And I celebrate her and I celebrate all living and the dead teacher. And also, Mr. Speaker, I would like to say, as an institution, we should celebrate all the teachers that we might have lost during the banditry attack, the train attack, the schools attack, all the teachers that we might have lost. We celebrate them at death and we say, may their souls rest in perfect peace. As a daughter of a teacher, Mr. Speaker, when I was in school, at the secondary school, my best subject was geography. And my teacher, Mr. Remo, I'm sure maybe he's listening to me today, I'm sure he will be proud of me. And as we grew up in life, even to the university level, to become an administrator par excellence in which we are today and making impact at our little community, I celebrate all the teachers from the toddler till the university. Mr. Speaker, we must not forget that the teachers, they present to us the past, they reveal the present, and they create future for us. So as a result of this, there's no way we will be celebrating their day today and we will not be celebrating them powerfully. It is a big omission that none of us, we thank Honorable Bagos for bringing this up, that we were overwhelmed maybe with the activities of political things going on in our environment. Mr. Speaker, I stand to say, without missing word today, that teachers, they deserve the best. And I would like to make a prayer, whether now or in the future, Mr. Speaker, there's a scheme going on by the federal government, housing scheme, across the Nigeria, across the country, that teachers should be deliberately given some slots, especially, Mr. Speaker, our primary school teachers. A colleague just mentioned now that a teacher, some of them, they are going home, their take home is less than 100,000. A teacher that has about 3 or 4 kids with 100,000, how can they build? And shelter is important. So I want to make a proposal, sir, that we should help them and the committee on schools, on education, that they should create housing for them, sir, that they should create 70%. That's my proposal, Mr. Speaker, of the scheme, housing scheme going on to celebrate them. It is not enough that we stand up, we clap for them. It is not enough that we stand up with a minute silent for them. Those that are still living, Mr. Speaker, let's reward them. Let teachers' reward be on earth. As a person, I believe in our constituency, we have done a lot. They are listening to me, Mr. Speaker. They are all, their teachers or NUT, or we meet with them regularly. Personally, I have done that to celebrate and to appreciate them. And I want to encourage all members too, that the little we're doing, we should continue while we urge the federal government to improve on their welfare. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable, I think that's it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Ujukinsley Chima, member representing Ohajimema Oguta Oru West Federal Constituency of Imo State. Mr. Speaker, let me sincerely thank the House for bringing out this opportunity to celebrate our teachers. If you watch, even Mr. Speaker may be speaking in Yoruba language, while the Deputy Speaker may be interpreting in Hausa language, and maybe us B will be interpreting in Igbo language, if we did not pass through the school system. And this is one major transformation the teachers have actually given to us, members of the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, if you go by the theme of this year's celebration, it says the transformation of education begins with a teacher. And that is why I am very, very, very optimistic that if the teachers were not there, maybe some of us might be farming. I mean, being in the village, some of us may not even have opportunity of coming to Abuja to see the level of development we've seen or we're seeing today in Abuja. And this is why it is very, very imperative for us to use this medium again to celebrate the teachers, more especially the ones that taught me and imparted directly on my life as a student, either in secondary school or in the university. I remember those days in nostalgia. My own vice chancellor was my classroom teacher, and the man was seen then as a very hard man, very disciplinarian, and above all, today, one of the
Honorable Ben, please, let's complete the celebration before we go. Honorable Monkey.
One of the disciplines I've got as a student then, as a parliamentarian today, was given to me by Professor S.C. Chukwu. Professor S.C. Chukwu then, because he was my vice chancellor in the university, he would always come to classroom, and every attribute of the time management of the university, he wanted to transform it on the students within his classroom. And I remember some other teachers or lecturers in the university then. We have Dr. Beko from Ghana. Dr. Beko, up to the extent of learning Igbo language, in order to make sure he transformed knowledge, or he transferred knowledge to the students in his classroom. And Umebale, Professor Umebale, and even in my secondary school, I know one man that taught me government, Mr. Ihenetu. Mr. Ihenetu was a disciplinarian. In fact, if he's coming to the classroom, he's coming with a cane. And most of us in the school then, we hated him so much, believing that he was a wicked man. But today I've seen that those cane he was coming to the classroom with was actually to remodel us. As parliamentarians, I want to urge us today that the budget we are going to receive from Mr. President in a couple of days, that we devote enough percentage for teachers and enough percentage for development of education system in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, what I mean, why I say this is, the United Nations standard says that education should be given utmost priority in order to develop a nation. And if you want the level of insecurity today in the country is born out of the level of ignorance, the level of illiteracy associated with most of these young men who are associated with these clandestine attitudes. And that informed my reason to urge and beg the members of the parliament that let us emphasize on whatever project that will not impact positively on the lives of our children and the lives of those people, those students who are out of school because of ASU strike. Mr. Speaker, thank you for what you did yesterday, and thank you for the leadership of this House for devoting almost 2 weeks, making sure that ASU and teachers and lecturers should return back to classroom. And I hope in the spirit of this celebration today that, Mr. Speaker, by next week Thursday, at least this week Thursday, tomorrow, and maybe subsequent days, we shall see that the mood the House is today will resort to ASU going back to their classroom. Thank you, and God bless you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. Let me just wrap it up with one sentence and say that the contributions of our teachers to societal development can never ever be quantified. We are where we are today because of them, and many are where they are today because of them. May God bless them all. Let's rise for 1 minute for those of our teachers that have passed on. May the souls of our teachers who are not here with us today rest in peace.